Hey everybody, today I'm going to talk about mixed episodes in bipolar disorder. What causes them, how they can feel, why they're dangerous, and of course what we can do to better manage them. And thank you to Equilibria Premium CBD Company for sponsoring this video. Let's get into mixed episodes themselves. And while we all have heard people talk about the highs of mania or hypomania and the lows of bipolar depression, a mixed episode happens when both of these symptoms occur at the same time, meaning that we feel impulsive, having flights of ideas, not wanting to sleep, but are also irritable, physically exhausted, and hopeless about our future. And it's diagnosed as having met the criteria for a manic or hypomanic episode, while also having at least 3 depressive symptoms. And I know it's hard to comprehend how someone could feel both depressed and manic at the same time, since we often think of people swinging, from one extreme to the other. But mixed episodes are extremely common. About 40% of those with bipolar disorder will have one, and they are extremely uncomfortable. Many of my patients in the hospital and even in my private practice have described it as having so much energy, but feeling terrible about it. One patient said she wished she could just tear her skin off. It was so unbearable because the manic symptoms are so impulsive and erratic, but we also feel depressed or hopeless. And this state can be very dangerous. When we feel that low and have the energy to do something about it, suicide attempts go up, which is why any mental health professional will be watching us closely if they think that we are in the midst of a mixed episode. It can also be dangerous to our bank account and our relationships because we can impulsively spend, have casual sexual encounters, and even look to argue or fight with those that we love. Which is why it's really important that we let our treatment team know that what we are experiencing is a mixed episode so that they can help us manage the symptoms before anything bad happens. On average, just so you know, these episodes last for at least a week, but they can last 2 weeks or longer. So the sooner we speak up and reach out, the better. While I don't have bipolar disorder, you all know that I do struggle with symptoms of anxiety and pain in my back and shoulders from Lord knows what. Working out, stress, getting older, maybe all those things. But Equilibria's daily drops, which offers 300 milligrams of full spectrum CBD, have helped me fall asleep more quickly without having as many of those worry thoughts that used to keep me up at night. And I also love their relief cream, and it has helped with the pain in my neck and shoulders and the numbness that those tense muscles were causing in my right hand. You guys remember when my thumb was going numb? That was no fun. And so I've been putting it on multiple times a day, and it has really been life-changing. And I appreciate that Equilibria was founded by 2 women who have their own struggles with chronic pain and mental health issues, because that means that they understand just how important finding relief is. And if you want to pick up your own daily drops, relief cream, or any one of their other products, you can click the link at the top of the description and use code Kati Morton for 15% off your first order. Those of us with untreated bipolar disorder have a brain that has less gray matter than people who don't have bipolar disorder. And gray matter is important because it helps us process information, thoughts, and feelings. It also helps process and direct information from one part of the body to the next. Since it's made up of neuronal cells, it's responsible for receiving sensory input from the world around us and then telling our muscles what they need to do in response. The gray matter in our brain builds up from birth and is fully developed when we are in our 20s. And overall, it makes up about 40% of our brain. The 60% left is made up of what is called white matter. Having less gray matter can cause us to be more impulsive. It can make it more difficult for us to process our feelings and struggle with coordination and movement. And it can even affect our memory, which may explain why those of us with bipolar disorder can, when we're in a manic or hypomanic state, be really impulsive, not remember portions of the episode, and make careless choices that we may later regret. A 2017 study from the University of Southern California also found that when treated with lithium, which, if you didn't know, is a treatment for bipolar disorder, although I know it's not everyone's favorite, but when treated, the gray matter was not found to be as thin as those who did not receive any treatment. Therefore, getting our bipolar disorder properly cared for could protect our brain a bit. Bipolar disorder is also found to be connected to variations in the levels of dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin in our brain. Now, dopamine is responsible for us feeling pleasure or reward in our life. Norepinephrine is in charge of our sleep-wake cycle, hunger-fullness cues, sex drive, impulsivity, learning and memory, so just a lot of stuff. And serotonin is otherwise known as the natural mood stabilizer since it helps regulate our mood. It is believed that bipolar disorder causes these three brain chemicals to fluctuate, which could account for all of the symptoms, such as decreased need for sleep, feeling active and excited one week and depressed the next, just to name a couple of things. Which moves us into ways that we can better manage our mixed episodes. Now, first up is therapy, and more specifically CBT, or cognitive behavioral therapy. Now, I've worked with many people who have bipolar disorder, and being a detective about our symptoms is key to us preventing any mixed episodes from happening or for lasting very long. It can be helpful to recognize when we start to have more racing thoughts or not needing as much sleep, or maybe feeling extra irritable or unmotivated. Knowing that as early as possible gives us time to use our tools and even call our psychiatrist to see if a medication increase or change may be helpful. It can also help to create a healthy daily routine, meaning that we eat regularly, drink enough water, and get enough sleep. I know that sort of thing sounds obvious, but it's so often ignored. When we have bipolar disorder, having a routine can help us manage our symptoms better and more quickly notice when we are feeling off. It can also help to notice our self-talk and work to make it more loving and compassionate. Not only will this help keep us motivated and recognize when our depression is creeping back in, but it can also help us better problem solve. When we think more clearly, we're able to see possible solutions more easily. And that will not only help us in our relationships, but also overcome any side effects of our mental illness, like dealing with large credit card bills. Our ability to more easily problem solve can help us keep our stress levels low and prevent a possible relapse. While therapy can help us better manage the symptoms, medication is an important aspect of our treatment as well. Most research shows having a mood stabilizer or a typical antipsychotic on board will help lessen our symptoms of bipolar disorder. I've had patients who are on one or multiple medications to alleviate their symptoms, so know that another person's experience is just that, it's theirs, and your situation could be vastly different. And obviously, I am not a doctor, so please reach out to a psychiatrist or other physician to be properly diagnosed and treated. And make sure you ask them any questions you have about medication, like possible side effects you need to look out for, or how long it can take before you feel the effects of it, and any other concerns that you may have. As a side note, I just think it's important to mention that it is common for those of us with bipolar disorder to reach out for help when we feel depressed, and then be misdiagnosed as having major depressive disorder, which can lead to us then being placed on an SSRI or an SNRI, otherwise known as an antidepressant. And because those medications are activating to our system, we can be pushed artificially into a manic or hypomanic episode. So if you have experienced any symptoms of mania or hypomania, like maybe not needing as much sleep for a week or more, or feeling like you have so many good ideas you can't even put them into place fast enough, or maybe you feel really irritable at everyone around you for no identifiable reason. If you feel any of those, please let your prescribing doctor know so that we can avoid any potential manic or hypomanic episode due to a medication. And that's all I have for you today. I hope you found that helpful. I am always happy to dive into other mental illnesses and their symptoms and how we diagnose and treat. So if you have any other ideas or anything at all to add, please leave it in the comments down below. And thanks again to Equilibria for sponsoring this video. And don't forget to check out their products and use my discount code Kati Morton to get 15% off your first order. Have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time.